You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by J.K. Nelson Law, voted best of Pahrump for 4 years. Give them a call, 775-727-9900. News 25 is also brought to you by Gunny's Air Conditioning and Heating, new, service, and repair. Call Gunny's, 775-727-6800.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News 25. I'm Unat Gentry. Thanks for joining us on Ace Country Radio, and we're also streaming at KPVM.TV. We're also on your Roku devices. It is Thursday, July 9th. In today's top story, a brush fire is reported near Savoy here in Pahrump, believed to be started by a generator. The surrounding area is evacuated, though, out of precaution.
At approximately 2:30 on Thursday, July 9th, Nye County Dispatch received reports of a brush fire near Savoy. When first responders arrived, they found a brush fire that had spread to a nearby propane tank and was also spreading across the street. The homeowner and neighbors safely evacuated all animals from the property while waiting for first responders. While Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue was fighting the fire, Nye County Sheriff's Office safely evacuated nearby residents and closed the surrounding roads as a precaution. Firefighters have the blaze under control and are working to fully extinguish the remaining hot spots. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. KPVM will continue to provide updates as more information becomes available.
In more area news, the Las Vegas Metro Police Department Sexual Assault Detail needs your help in a case that might have more victims. News 25's Christy Willis has this story.
The Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department is asking for the public's help following the arrest of a local coach accused of sexually based crimes involving children. On June 29, 2026, detectives with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Sexual Assault Detail arrested 21-year-old Michael Nestor in connection with an investigation into incidents that allegedly occurred in Las Vegas. According to police, Nestor was booked into the Clark County Detention Center on 2 counts of lewdness with a child under the age of 14. Investigators believe there may be additional juvenile victims and are encouraging anyone who may have had contact with Nestor or has information related to the case to come forward. Anyone with information is asked to contact the LVMPD Sexual Assault Detail at 702-828-3421. Those wishing to remain anonymous can contact Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555 or submit a tip online through Crime Stoppers of Nevada.
And a woman in a Las Vegas courtroom Tuesday pleads guilty to bigamy. She married 14, count them, 14 men after meeting them on social media in hopes of having them help her with her reported gambling debts. News 25's Chris Palermo has this story.
It wasn't quite like the movie 27 Dresses, but it came close. A Chinese woman married 14 men in Las Vegas to help subsidize her gambling habit that had accrued to more than $300,000. This, according to a district attorney prosecuting her case. Reports from the Daily Mail say that Jia Yang Chen, 33, pled guilty to 1 count of bigamy for each marriage and for obtaining money under false pretenses for more than $100,000. On Tuesday in court in Las Vegas, she waived her right to a preliminary hearing. In 2024, she told police she only conducts the fake marriages in Las Vegas because it's so easy to get married. 14 marriage applications were submitted by Chen to the Clark County Marriage License Bureau between March 2019 and May 2024. This, according to a 2024 arrest report. They did issue 7 marriage certificates, which led to charges of bigamy and theft. Chen posted bond and then disappeared. She was arrested again in June 2026 after submitting 8 marriage license applications under the alias of Vicky Liang. She had successfully secured 7 marriage certificates, which brought the grand total of marriages to 14. Chen is still currently married to 6 men as of last month. Chen would meet men on social media apps and then suggest that they get married. According to police and the Clark County Marriage License Bureau, Chen had a fake U.S. passport and a fraudulent Nevada driver's license at the time of her most recent arrest. She was able to get married multiple times by using fake IDs and lying on applications. Chen is currently being held in Clark County Detention Center.
Well, if you've ever dreamed of being somewhat of an astronaut, you're in luck because NASA is looking for volunteers who have somewhat of an education who are willing to participate in experiments relating to living on the moon and Mars. It's an out-of-this-world story from Christy Willis.
NASA is looking for volunteers to live like astronauts for a year. If you've ever dreamed of becoming an astronaut, NASA is offering a unique opportunity that doesn't require leaving Earth. The space agency is now recruiting 4 volunteers for its next Moon and Mars Exploration Analog Mission, or MMEA. The year-long research program is designed to simulate what astronauts could experience during the future missions to the Moon and eventually Mars, beginning no earlier than August 2027. The selected crew will spend 12 months living and working in complete isolation at NASA's Johnson Space Center in Houston. The mission is split between 2 specialized habitats. The first is a mock spacecraft where volunteers will simulate the month-long journey through deep space. The second is a 3D printed planetary base complete with private crew quarters, workstations, a crop growing area, an airlock, and even simulated Martian landscape where participants will conduct mock spacewalks and operate rovers. Throughout the mission, the crew will grow food, maintain the habitat, monitor their physical and mental health, and adapt to the unique challenges of living on Mars time, where each day is about 40 minutes longer than an Earth day. NASA says the research will help scientists to understand how people cope with long-duration space missions and will help shape the future lunar bases and the first human missions to Mars. The program combines lessons learned from NASA's previous Hera and Chappia isolation missions into one integrated simulation. Applicants must be U.S. citizens or permanent residents, generally between ages 30 and 55, fluent in English, and hold at least a bachelor's degree in engineering, biological science, physical science, mathematics, or a STEM-related field. Military experience and STEM-related degrees may also qualify. Candidates must also pass rigorous physical and psychological evaluations. Previous participant Dr. Nathan Jones, who served as a medical officer during NASA's Chappia mission, said the hardest part wasn't the workload. It was spending an entire year away from his family. He said missing birthdays, holidays, and other family milestones was incredibly difficult, but the experience also gave him a newfound appreciation for everyday things like fresh food, sunrise, and even feeling the wind. NASA says the information gathered from these volunteers will play a critical role in preparing astronauts for future Artemis missions, a permanent human presence on the moon, and eventually the first crewed journey to Mars. If you're interested in applying or learning more about the Moon and Mars Exploration Analog Program, visit NASA's Human Research Program at www.nasa.gov/HRP or search for Moon and Mars Exploration Analog on NASA's website. Applications are now being accepted for the mission, scheduled to begin no earlier than August 2027.
Don't grab that remote. News 25 will be right back.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, a proposal currently under review by the U.S. FDA is drawing attention nationwide because a petition is accepted that would allow raw enriched meat flour and wheat flour to be treated with higher levels of ionizing radiation to reduce harmful bacteria like E. coli and Salmonella. While supporters say it could improve food safety, critics are questioning whether or not it is the best solution.
The FDA has accepted a petition from Sterigenics US to allow raw enriched wheat flour to be irradiated with doses of up to 30 kilogray or kgy to help eliminate dangerous bacteria. It's important to note that accepting the petition does not mean it has been approved. The FDA will now review the scientific evidence before making a final decision. Food irradiation has been used in the United States for decades on products such as spices, herbs, some meats, poultry, and produce. The process uses ionizing radiation to damage the DNA of bacteria and other microorganisms, preventing them from reproducing. According to the FDA, irradiated food does not become radioactive. Much of the debate online compares the proposed 30 kgy treatment to radiation doses that can be deadly to humans. Experts say that comparison is misleading because exposing food during processing is fundamentally different from exposing a living person to radiation. Supporters say the proposal addresses a real food safety concern. Although many people think of flour as a ready-to-use pantry staple, raw flour is considered a raw agricultural product and can become contaminated before it ever reaches consumers. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention has investigated several multi-state outbreaks linked to contaminated flour and raw baking products, including outbreaks in 2016, 2019, 2021, and 2023 involving E. coli and salmonella. While these outbreaks are relatively uncommon, the CDC continues to advise consumers not to eat raw cookie dough or batter made with untreated flour. Critics argue there may be better ways to reduce contamination, including improving sanitation during farming, transportation, and milling. Others also note that research has shown irradiation can reduce certain vitamins, including some B vitamins, depending on the dose used.
In addition to the NBA Summer League kicking off today and the Las Vegas Aces playing in Portland tonight, coming up, Conor McGregor is fighting at T-Mobile, and the Professional Women's Hockey League signs a player. Mikey Ruhan has all that and more now in sports.
Time now for your News 25 look at sports and streaming at KPVM.TV and now on Roku devices. The wait is finally over. For the first time since suffering his devastating leg injury in 2021, Conor McGregor returns to Las Vegas for UFC 329, where he'll headline International Fight Week against former featherweight champion Max Holloway in one of the most anticipated fights in UFC history. The showdown is set for July 11th at T-Mobile Arena. Vegas is preparing for a huge crowd, and local tattoo shops are preparing for a huge spike in regrettable decisions. The PWHL Las Vegas announced Wednesday that forward Sidney Langseth has signed a 2-year standard player agreement ahead of the 2026-27 season. Langseth spent the 2025-26 season as a rookie with the Seattle Torrent after earning a reserve contract out of training camp. Following the Olympic break, the 24-year-old made her professional debut on February 27th. Congratulations to Sydney, who officially has one of the coolest jobs in Vegas that doesn't involve magic or tigers. The Las Vegas Aces are in Portland tonight to take on the Fire. This is the second meeting between the two teams this season. Las Vegas won the first matchup 105-89 back in June. The Fire will be hoping for revenge and maybe a fire extinguisher for Aja Wilson. The Las Vegas Aviators dropped a close one to the Tacoma Rainiers Wednesday night, 9-7. The two teams are right back at it tonight at 7:05 at Las Vegas Ballpark. The Aviators are hoping to even the series, and unlike my golf game, they actually have a chance. And that's your look at sports on News 25.
Thanks so much, Mikey. And we have cybersecurity tips and more news you can use after this break.
You're watching News 25. Local coverage you can count on. News 25 is brought to you by Mountain West Lawyer, Injury Attorneys, 727-9500.
Welcome back to News 25. Well, we have a special story for you from the VA.
This segment of News 25 is brought to you by Valley Electric and its family of companies focused on serving our members. We're better together.
Here are 4 factors that impact your energy bills. Number 1 is energy use. The more electricity you use, the higher your energy bill. Number 2 is fuel cost. When cost of fuel used to generate electricity go up, overall cost increase. Number 3 is weather. Extreme temperatures increase the demand for cooling or heating. This puts pressure on fuel sources and prices. Number 4 is equipment cost. Pricing for equipment and material needed to maintain the electric system can fluctuate. We can't control the weather or changing cost of fuel, but we can help you identify ways to save energy. Contact Valley Electric Association if you have any questions about your bill or for tips to help you manage your energy use.
News 25 WeatherCam is brought to you by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorney's Office in Pahrump. In a wreck, need a check? Call 702-877-1500.
Let's take a look outside at our Lerner and Rowe weather cam, and it is another beautiful July day. Almost like Christmas in July with this weather we're having, even though we're in the hundreds, not the 60s. A closer look at weather next.
Weather is sponsored by the Nevada Dairy Farmers and the Dairy Council of Nevada, sharing the love of all things dairy. Celebrate the best moments with milk. Milk the moment. And the weather is also brought to you by the Ponderosa Dairy, Nevada's largest dairy, fresh from our farm to your table.
Time to take a look now at our current weather conditions here in Pahrump and Las Vegas and throughout the Silver State. Death Valley's high today, knocking on the door of 120, just shy of that by 1 degree. Las Vegas is high today, 112. Then we're dropping down to the upper 70s overnight. Amargosa's high, 109. Beatty, 105. Goldfield, 96. Tonopah tops out at 93 today, along with Carson City, but Carson City will dip down to the mid-50s overnight. And the near weather twins of Fallon and Fernley have highs in the mid to upper 90s, then drop down to the mid to low 60s overnight. And here in Pahrump, it is currently 105 degrees. We already reached a high of 107 with winds out of the south at 9 miles per hour. Humidity is very low at only 7%. Sunrise was at an early 5:34 a.m. And tonight we'll dip down into the low 70s and upper 60s with winds out of the southeast at 9 miles per hour. Humidity increases a bit to 10%. Sunset will be at 8:03 p.m. And looking ahead to our 7-day forecast, we will be flirting with 110 all weekend with the overnight lows in the mid 70s, low 80s. And for the beginning of our work week, that's the only day we'll have a bit of relief, dipping down 1 degree below the century mark with lows overnight in the low 80s. And throughout the midweek, we'll creep back up into the 105 range with overnight lows remaining in the low 80s. So again, it remains warm out there. It's a scorcher of a summer this July. So drink plenty of water, stay hydrated out there, and stay in the shade when you can. That does it for this edition of News 25. I'm Unette Gentry, and from all of us here at KPVM and Ace Country Radio, we'll see you on the air next newscast. Good night.